Around 10 a.m. this Saturday, I did this workout, 20 minutes intense Tabata with Grow with Joe. I love her channel. She has an immense arc of workouts, short or long workouts. She goes till an hour and a half. And the thing with her channel, at least for me, is that it requires little or none of material for, how do you call it? Like extras. It is just your body weight and your movement. I just got a bath, so sorry for no makeup, no nothing. I even have my lips a bit chapped, but yeah, what I was saying, Grow with Joe is a channel that I follow, and I try to do her workouts regularly. I'm well, beginning April, first, beginning January, I did something that, or I tried to do something that was trying to begin on calisthenics. And for that, Summer Fun Fitness, so this channel right here, I love her for calisthenics. So this is her channel. I think she's called Summer, right? I suppose she's great as well. So as I was saying, beginning January 2026, so this year, I tried to begin with calisthenics, and I even talked about it in Portuguese in my Instagram, in the stories. And I was following Summer Fun Fitness, so I was doing some of her beginner friendly workouts. But then, I'm so lazy and I give up easily, and February was not my month at all. I stopped everything. I didn't did anything. Then March came and I tried to begin the month with something that lasted 1 week. Then nothing again. Like, then April came and the same thing. I tried to begin the month with doing something. I did like 1-2 days, then nothing. So we are in May. And yeah, I'm trying to begin my exercising life today. So I am trying to rationalize with myself is that I cannot and I will not sustain habit, at least in the beginning, if it is too intense or demands too much of me. I work out that way, I like it's really, it shouldn't be this way, but I have to work around my brain and how I function with my procrastination. So I'm going with Grow with Joe, so the channel of the other girl that I showed you. She has workouts that is standing up, doing steps in the same place. She has Tabata. She has many things. You really should go and look for it. Of course, her channel is huge, so perhaps you already know her, and she's great. I mean, she has intense, she has beginner, she has everything, and I really enjoy the fact that I can do the workouts at home. That she has like really beginner workouts, and right now I did that video that I showed you, the 20 minutes Tabata. I'm sorry the title was in Portuguese. I don't know how well to work out this thing where YouTube translates everything now, and I don't really enjoy it. If you want to know my opinion, perhaps you didn't, but now I'm saying it to you. I don't like the translations of the titles because I want to know in which language it originally is. And if I want to translate it, I just wanted it to be perhaps like an option in the 3 points, like in the right side, that they translate. Why do they translate it automatically? Like, I don't understand. It's so annoying, but whatever. So yeah, and I'm trying to, beginning May, you know and throughout the month, and let's get hopeful that I'm going to try and do like at least 3 times a week growy Joe, and then 1 time or 2 times summer fun fitness with calisthenics. So I do this video. I don't think it's quite this one, but well, if it's not this one, it's some similar. Sorry, I couldn't find the really right video. I don't know where I saved it. I thought it was in the calisthenics playlist, but it isn't. But well, you can search for her channel, see the where you stand in terms of your fitness, right? And if calisthenics even interests you. I thought that calisthenics was interesting because the thing that, or of course, calisthenics uses equipment, that's the word. But it's not that the thing with calisthenics is that you should use your own body weight to do the exercise, and it's movement that combines mobility or flexibility, strength, agility, those type of things that you do with your own body, and you don't rely so much on weights or something. I'm not saying that weights is not the thing that I want to do. I really do, because that's important too. That many researchers talking about that weight is really important for our muscles, our bones. So of course that's also important. And in calisthenics they use weights. That's not saying they don't. But the thing with no equipment, or basically almost none, or the minimal, and the thing to be agile with your own body and flexible, and that so many things around doing stuff with your body. I don't know how well to explain it, but you can search calisthenics in Google or wherever AI you want. So um and it's well known already. So Summer, for instance, she began really early, like when calisthenics wasn't even really on the mainstream. At least I wasn't aware at the time. I heard someone talking about it, but I didn't pay attention. It was like more last two to no last year, yeah, last year that I heard or I saw more stuff about it. More people coming to the game and doing content about calisthenics. Um, but yeah, it wasn't on my radar, so I was living under a rock. I don't know. So yeah, but well, what more can I say to you? Um, I wanted to do a bit of a check-in. I'm going to move you. Wait up. Hi, this is after lunch. It's already 2:44. So I was talking about this one right here, All About Love by Bell Hooks. Something that I'm enjoying in this book is that Bell Hooks does reference to other authors and other works. about the subject or related to the subject or that touch on the subject. Youth culture today is cynical about love. Their pervasive feeling that love cannot be found. Cynicism is the great mask of the disappointed and betrayed heart. And she talks about that when she travels around the nation, so the United States, giving lectures about ending racism and sexism, audiences, especially young listeners, become agitated when she speaks about the place of love in any movement for social justice. Young listeners remain reluctant to embrace the idea of love as a transformative force. To them, love is for the naive, the weak, the hopelessly romantic. Their attitude is mirrored in the grown ups, their turn for explanations. So, and she goes to talk about that when she speaks about love with her own generation, they kind of retract and become a bit defensive or uncomfortable, and that you should talk to a therapist. That's what they say in her experience, in the author experience. So we all are a bit awkward talking about love and what love means and what love entails and what love could do for the state of our lives and the state of our societies. I think that's the main point of this book right here, is that she talks about love as being this grandeur, this more grandiose um, feeling that could bring people together, although this sounds cliche. And but she will refer this in this book. Also, she will speak about, or she will write about, how many men have written about love and what it means to be in love or what it means to love someone, and they will theorize about this topic. And sometimes women, when women do that as well, they are not so much celebrated as men are. She subtly will say that this could be for many reasons, of course, but you know, she will say something like, in popular culture, love is always the stuff of fantasy. Maybe this is why men have done most of the theorizing about love. Fantasy has primarily been their domain, both in the sphere of culture production and in everyday life. Male fantasy is seen as something that can create reality, whereas female fantasy is regarded as pure escape. So she will reflect some things like this, and this is just the introduction, I think. Yes. So this book is divided by chapters, and she will go on to divide this book in chapters. And from what I understand, I am understanding, this is really based on her experience and how she comes to certain conclusions based on her life experience, and even with friends of hers or experience. And love, I'm when she talks about love, she is not constraining it only to romantic love. She is talking about love in many forms. And she has a quote here that says, "We do not have to love, we choose to love. Since the choice must be made to nurture growth This definition counters the more widely accepted assumption that we love instinctually. And I heard an episode of a podcast that I accompany, and the person that was speaking was in one episode. Now I won't remember which, but she is married, and she says that uh, to answer when answering a question of follower, she says that yes, love for her is a choice that she does every day. And also, she will comes to conclusions like abuse and neglect are, by definition, the opposites of nurturance and care. So, she will speak about her own romantic relationships without giving specifics, but in general ideas what she went through, also where she is at fault or was at fault in those relationships. She will come to speak about the relationships we have with our parents or our caregivers when we are children, and how sometimes child um, infancy experiences go with us through our adult life, and sometimes we mirror those feelings or those experiences in future relationships when we are much older. So it's like there is a seed that is um, put in us when we are children, wherever that entails, if it's more positive or negative, you know, and then we carry that seed that will transfigurate or will be the reason for why we are attracted to a certain type of person, or that sometimes is not a more healthy choice for us, and I mean attracted in terms of romantic love again, or even friendship, for instance. In another chapter, she will talk about maybe a generalization, I suppose, about men and how they, in her vision, are almost programmed to behave a certain way, and a bit more specific in terms of lying. So she will go, for many young males, the earliest experience of power over others comes from the thrill of lying to more powerful adults and getting away with it. Lots of men share with me that it was difficult for them to tell the truth if they saw that it would hurt a loved one. Significantly, the lying many boys learn to do to avoid hurting mom or whomever becomes so habitual that it becomes hard for them to distinguish a lie from the truth. The behavior carries over into adulthood. So she will do also reflections about these terms, or these, again, life experience that sometimes are not that directly regarding her own life experience, but in interviews or with conversations that she has with other people, and she will learn about their experiences, and she will bring that what she has conversed or talked about with those people to her book. The last chapter that I read was called Spirituality, Divine Love. And she will go to say that love should be rooted on something more profound. Well, I think the title says it all, or almost, because I have to admit, I become a bit in doubt of what she really meant, because something that I have to research is about the beliefs of bell hooks. I don't know where she stands, if she's a Christian, if she's, I don't know, any if she has a religion, or if she goes by a religion or not, or if she's talking about here in terms of a more um, giving nutrients to your spirit, but through love, but in a more intellectualized way. You know what I mean? And not so much rooted in religion. I'm not sure about it, so I cannot really say either which. But what I, just for reading this chapter, I come to realize, or I stayed with the idea that she was talking a bit about religion, and the divine being really something above you, something more of you, more than you, something that rules our existence. That's what I'm gathering. But, and I'm not of that opinion, or better, I don't concur so much with this vision. I think something divine doesn't have to be present in your life for you to have the ability or the depth to give and receive love. I think that's, as she said previously, a choice that you do. So, and you give or you don't, right? You make, sometimes your emotions get over it, or get through your head, or over your head, or I don't know how else to express it, but sometimes your emotions speak loudly than your rationality. But sometimes you make a rational decision to be emotionally invested in someone. I think that's possible. So I, as I said before, I will do a bit more research about the beliefs of the author, and then, of course, I will continue my reading of her book. And hopefully, if not the next video, in a future video, you will be hearing me talking a bit more about all about love. Okay, so coming to another book that I started reading, that is also one of the 5 books that I said that I wanted to read last year. It's Material Girls by Kathleen Stock, right? Yeah, so the subtitle is Why Reality Matters for Feminism. And this author, so I don't know if you, oh, it is this person right here. I talked how I got to the knowing about the existence of this book and this author in that said video, so I'm not going to mention it again. But what is this? So this is a book that it's an opinion or a perspective of this author about the theme of uh, transgenderism, about transgenderism and transsexuality. I'm sorry, this is really hard for me to pronounce these words. And she will start doing recap of a historical recap. So a brief history of gender identity. And in topics, she will kind of pinpoint the authors or the researchers or the scientists or the philosophers that came to the mass media with new concepts and new ideas and new perspectives about gender and identity and sexual identity or gender identity and so on. So, all about this topic. And she will do a summary. Of course, this is not extensive. So she will call it moments. So she will, for instance, moment one, Simone de Beauvoir says, one is not born, but rather becomes a woman, for instance. And then she will develop her point of view and the historic moment in which this happened and what this author in particular, for instance, said in this edition that I have here. This says with a new forward, and she will say that I wrote Material Girls as an opinionated guide for the public. In more forward, she says, though this book focuses on the UK, the reach of gender identity theory is international. Countries currently in the grip of it include Canada, Germany, Australia, Holland, the US, New Zealand, and Spain. In these places, as in others, various authorities are making far-reaching decisions based on the assumption that gender identity theory is true. And yet, it is seriously questionable, or so I argue in this book. I write this late in 2021. Exactly a year ago, I was editing Material Girls for hardback publication. Of course, I won't read everything. I'm just picking some lines. I only read this. I'm on page 86, in the middle of a chapter. What can I say? I think I will only have a full perspective on the author's opinion when I finish the book. But she disagrees with a lot of people that along the years were preeminent voices about this subject. Voices in terms of identity theory, sorry. So, gender identity theory, yes. And I found that some things I knew about about the history briefing that she does. Other things or other personalities that were preeminent in this area I didn't knew about, and I think it was really clever to start like this because not explains, but she clarify some terms that were coined in popular use about this subject, and then she will say where it came from, who or where, how it came to be, and sometimes you are not, you didn't have a clue. At least I speak for myself. I didn't have a clue that some terms came from sometimes things that were the total opposite of what then the term became. It's really a bit bizarre sometimes, I have to say. And now I'm in the chapter about why does sex matter. So I have to say, I started this a bit a while ago. We are in May, as I said to you. I started this, I think, in February, so you to have an idea. So I'm thinking that I will have to revise some things that I read already because I'm a bit forgetful. I will revise the stuff that I already read and then continue further. But this book, talks about, well, I could buy many books because of this one, but I chose, okay, this was a choice. So I bought in Portuguese translation, and I bought The Second Sex by Simone de Beauvoir, only because Simone de Beauvoir is an author that I already had the urge to read. She and Sartre, from Jean-Paul Sartre, I read The Nausea. That is a fictionalized book about his kind of philosophy about existentialism. And Simone de Beauvoir was also a philosopher, and her partner. So I have an interest already in this author, and this book, Material Girls, just gave me an excuse to, buy the book. So I'm with the intention of, after reading this one, and perhaps bring to you a more, not in depth, because I don't think this book is enough for me to have in-depth perspective on the subject. I will give you some aspects that I found interesting, if I can, and if I think I'm able to. And then I will jump to this one, The Second Sex by Simone de Beauvoir. I will try to leave a cover in English right here for you to see, but I don't think it's hard to find. Simone de Beauvoir is really well known, and you for certain already know her, or know about her work. And yeah, of course you may say, oh, these are only 2 books you are reading. No, I'm not only reading these ones. As you can see, this one, it comes from February, and I only read till 86 pages. And this one, I don't know, maybe I began reading 3 weeks ago in April. But I have the other ones ongoing that you already know about. I'm not going to repeat myself, because you know that, well, I'm going to repeat myself, yes. I'm a really slow reader, and I do long pauses, and as you can see, I have a ton of books to finish, because they are accompanying me more than a year ago, and I pick up new to read. So I don't know what to say. This is how I function, I suppose. Well, let's see how this type of videos stand with you. I hope you don't mind this not being a review. I think I will do these type of videos. I will be speaking about the books along the way that I'm reading them. So of course I have in mind to do separate videos for separate projects, and separate videos for certain books. So start to finish review. So a review video, a standard review video that I usually do for my channel. But please bear with me, and I hope you find enjoyment in hearing me talking about the books along the weeks go by. And I think I'm going to try and do this. So every week I will come here and give you a small update on the readings that I'm doing, or those readings that I'm more invested in. And if I have a review, if I want to do a separate review video, I will do it and I will post it. So let's see how this will go. Let me know what you think about it, if you enjoyed this video. And yeah, that's it for me. A big kiss, and I see you on the next one. Bye.